So hi all and welcome to our YouTube channel datamahadev. We also have a website with the same name datamahadev.com. Do follow us on datamahadev.com as well. We consistently post articles related to artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, etc. And do check out our categories section as I discussed earlier: analytics, artificial intelligence, data science, deep learning, machine learning, natural language processing, etc. So news related to artificial intelligence like that. So this is what it is. And of course, we have a YouTube channel too with the same name. You can follow our channel as well. Just type Data Mahadev. All right. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So we have around 238 subscribers currently, which is good. Remember we started out with zero, so it's good as compared to what we had previously. So this is what it is. And this was our last video for loops in Python, and which was uploaded, and it we created a playlist of loops with Python, and it is now inside the loops in Python playlist. And we also have a data structures in Python playlist. So in this basically in this video we'll be continuing with the data structures further with the data structures, right? So this is what it is. All right, so we'll be continuing with the data structures part, and which is list comprehension. If you are new to list, do check out our previous videos like lists in Python for beginners, list function, slicing of lists, reverse slicing and dicing of lists. Do check out that. All right. So this is what we discussed. What we discussed in the previous video was for loops. Now list comprehensions is very much basically not very much, but it is actually only based on the concept of for loops. Firstly, we'll see how to basically loop through a list, and then we'll see basically how to apply that very loop inside a list. So that's why I discussed loops in the previous video. If you have any doubts related to loops, or if you're new to Python, you don't know what for loop is, how a for loop is used in Python, visit this video. All right. So without wasting any due time in promotion, of course, no time in promotion is wasted. Just so this is what it is. Open up Anaconda Navigator. As you can see, the Anaconda Navigator will open up. So this is what it is. And as our base, we are preparing ourselves for data science, machine learning, data analytics, deep learning, etc. So the most used uh, IDE, Python IDE is what? A tool, a coding tool with which we code. So that is to meet our business outcomes, to meet our academic research based outcomes. The most used, the most preferred uh, Python ID for data analytics and machine learning, deep learning, etc. is Jupyter Notebook. We click on launch, it will open up in a default browser, which is in our case, which is Safari. Let's keep it full screen. Let's basically do what? Let's create a new file, right? So this is what it is. And name the file as list comprehensions. List comprehensions. So this is what it is. This is our cell. All right. So moving further ahead. So we'll talk about how to basically loop a list through Python. Any doubts related to for loop? If you're new to for loop, as I said earlier, watch our for loops in Python video, right? Looping through. So moving further towards looping through a list. All right. So how do we loop through a list? So for to loop through a list, firstly, what we'll do is that we'll create a list. Let's create a list 5, 2, 7, 4, 1, 8, 11, let's say 15, 17, 25. So let's check the length of this list first. So the length of this list is 10. The count of elements is 10. So this is what it is. Now let us loop through a list for x in A, right? Print x, press shift plus enter. So as you can see in lexicographical order, in lexicographical or stacked order, it has done what? It has printed the entire list. That's how we loop through a list, right? 5, 2, 7, 4, 1, the entire. This is what? This is a list. Now to check whether it is a list or not, do check our previous videos on list. We use the type uh, statement or type keyword, a type command, and inside that what we write, inside that we write a parenthesis followed by the a variable. Press shift plus enter. It will tell us what? It will tell that a variable is what? Is a list. So this is what? To check the length, we type the len keyword and it will tell us the length. So that's how we loop through a list. So this is what it is. Now moving further ahead, let us begin with list comprehensions, right? List comprehensions, that means doing several operations inside a list. So how do we do that? Let us have a list. Let us have a look. Let me take a variable as a new underscore list and create an empty list. Let me check its type, new underscore list. It will show me what? It will show me as a list. Let me check its length. It will show me what? Let us check it out. It will show me a 0. Why? Because it is an empty list. It is an empty list. It won't show us any. It does not have any element, so it won't show any count. It will show it as simply as 0. Now let us apply what? Let us apply list comprehensions for x. Let's say in A, right? In A. Now, if I just run it, what will it get me? What will it give me? If I just run this particular list, what will it give me? It will simply throw an error. It says invalid syntax. But above what we were doing is that we were doing this for x and a. We were writing the simple. We created a simple for loop, and we applied an indentation and then printed it. The sprint was what? Or the sprint came under the loop body. Now, what is missing over here? X for x. Now, what what we did is that we applied this operation. That means loop. Remember, loop is what? Loop is an iterative process. Loop is what? Loop is an iterative process. So it keeps on repeating itself until the last condition is met. So that is what a loop does, right? So basically, what in this case what it will do is that x will read out all the elements of a, and not only read, it will align each and every element of a within x. It will align each and every element of a within itself, within x, for x, within x, right? So this is what it is. So one by one it will read 5, it will print 5. See, it has printed 5. It will read 2, it will print 2, it is printed 2, and so on. So this is what it is. Similarly, in this case as well, what it will do, it will read x in A one by one and keep on storing. Now this x that I have written, it's inside the list. This x that I have highlighted currently, it is what? It is outside of the for loop inside the list. It is this particular x is outside the for loop. So that is what it is, right? It will do what? It will keep on reading and aligning with each and each values of x and keep on storing in this x, the one that I have highlighted currently. And ultimately it will do what? It will store it in a list. And which list? New underscore list. Align it to new underscore list, which is a variable I've created. I haven't run this cell after updating this particular x. Now I'll run it by pressing shift plus enter. It has run. Let's run this. Now let's print the length. It is showing as 10. Now let's print the updated list. Just a second, the caps lock got on. Sorry for the inconvenience. New underscore list. Now as you can see, new underscore list has all the elements of a inside it. Why? Because each and every time the because it is a for loop, it is an iterative process. It will keep on reading and storing all the values of a inside x until it reaches the last element, and keep on storing it here. But as there is no discrete for loop, there is no discrete for loop involved. It is involved inside a list. So that is why we call it a list of comprehension. List comprehensions are what? The operations involved inside a list. So that is what it is, right? So we have printed. Now this is what? This is an alternative for copy function. Alternative for copy function. So this is what it is. All right. Any doubts? Rewind or write it in the comments box. They all of your doubts will be adjudged. Will be not adjudged. Will be taken care of. So this is what it's. So that's how we basically loop through a list. That's how we use the alternative copy function. So that is what it is. Moving further ahead, towards more operations in list comprehension. Now let us print first to 10 natural numbers using the list comprehension technique. All right, comprehension technique. All right. The question is printing of the first 10 natural numbers using the list comprehension technique. Now how we'll do that? So let us have a look at it. Right. Let's take new underscore list, or let's take B, and create a list by adding square brackets x for x in range. Remember the range function. Any doubts regarding range function, look at our for loops in Python video, or look at our first video of the list, first tutorial of the list, Python list, 1 comma 10. So what it will do is that, let us repeat, it will take 1 under consideration, but it will skip 10. Whatever is on the right side of the comma, it skips. Now let me print pers. So as I said, print B. So as I said, it will skip 10. Whatever is on the right side of the comma, it skips. So what I'll write is that I'll write 11 over here. Now I'll run it. So as you can see, it has taken first 10 natural numbers inside a list. Check B, just showing it as a list. Want to check the length, 10. So this is what it is. This is how we basically do what? Print first and natural numbers using list comprehension. Now B is equal to what? Let's printing even numbers. Printing even numbers. Even first to 10 natural numbers. Natural numbers. Printing natural even numbers. Natural number or natural numbers which are even. Natural numbers which are even. Now let's take B underscore even is equal to square brackets x for x in a range 1 comma 11 comma 2. Now we want to do what? We want to print the even numbers from 1 to 10. We want to print the even numbers from 1 to 10. Now if I take 1 over here, what it will do, it will start from 1, and it will, now I have given a condition 2 over here. It will do what? It will skip 2, and it will print the second position, third. It will skip 4, it will skip print the second position, 5. Let us have a look at it. Print B underscore even. So as you can see, I have written 1 over here, it has started with 1. I've written 2 over here, it has skipped 1 place and printed the second place. So this is what it is. Now to print, the question is that we want to print the even numbers. So what we'll do is that we'll write 2 over here, 2 comma 11 comma 2, right? And what we'll do is that we'll write a shift plus enter. We'll press shift plus enter, and we'll press shift plus enter. As you can see, we have the even numbers starting from 1 to 10. We have even numbers. How come we have even numbers? 2 comma 11, it will skip 11, it will only print till 10, and 2. Skip the next number and print the second one. So this is what it has done. Now, another alternative of the above problem, another alternative for the above problem, using if. Now let us check within the list. B even 1 is equal to x for x in range 1 comma 11 if x modulus 2 double equals to 0. X modulus 2 double equals to 0. Then, so x modulus 2 is what? Modulus is our modulus operator, which gives us the remainder, right? And double equals to is what? Double equals to is our comparison operator. So it will do what? It will basically one by one, it will read for 1, right? It will check whether 1 is modulus 2 is equivalent to 0. Let us check over here. 1 modulus 2 is equivalent to 1. False. It will again loop it. It will move towards the next number, which is 2. It will check for 2. 2 modulus 2, is it equivalent to 0? Yes, it is equivalent to 0. It will store it over here in X. Similarly, it will ignore 3. It will, let's check for 3 as well. Why? Because 3 modulus 2 is 1. Right? 4 modulus 2 is 0. 4 mod does what? Mod gives us the remainder. Divide a particular number with this, with the divisor, and if it gives the remainder 0, it will give 0. If you want to basically uh, know about what mod is, look at our first tutorial, that is Introduction to Python, Basics Python, right? You can see it in the I part, right? Or let me show you here. To look at our this video. Which video I'm talking about? The video that I'm talking about is this one, Python Basics Tutorial, Introduction to Python. Here we have discussed all the arithmetic operators in detail. As you can see, 29-minute video it is. 29 minutes video it is, right? So this is how it will check, and check till 10, right? So let me remove this, and let me just press Shift plus Enter, and let me print B even 1. As you can see, same result. Same result, but this time what we did, we used it with the help of if. So this is what it is. All right, so let us look at more problems related to list comprehensions. All right, now let us do what? Now here I used the range function, right? I used the range function, and I did what? I printed the first and natural even numbers. Now how about this is my list, right? I want to, in the list A, I want to print only, extract or print only the even numbers. In the list A, I want to print or extract only the even numbers. Now, how will I do that? Let's have a look at this. Printing or extracting the even numbers of list A, right? So let us take a even even and create a list with the help of square brackets. X for x in A. As I said earlier, it will read all the elements of A and align it to X, but I'll also place a condition, which is if, right? X, because all the values of X, not all the values, one by one, the values of X will be stored in X, basically this X, and it will keep on checking one by one. It will keep on checking X modulus 2 double equals to 0. Same logic. Right, so this is what it is. It will check, let me print the list A over here. It will do what? It will check for A, it will check for 5, whether 5 is modulus 2 will be equivalent to 0. No, it won't be equivalent to 0. It will be equivalent to, it will check for 2. It will store, come out of the loop, store 2 inside this X, which is highlighted. Check for 7. No. 4, yes, it will store over here. 8, it will store over here, right? And 2 5 2 4 8, only these three even numbers I can spot over here. Yes, only these three even numbers are there, so it will print only 2 4 8. So let me basically print this. As you can see, it is checked, and it is only showing 2 4 8. So that is why if condition plays a big role. When you don't, when the interviewer tells you don't use the range function, or when you have a given list, like A we have in our case, and inside a given list, this won't work. This can only this 2 comma 11 comma 2 can only work in the range function. This, however, this can work when when a list is given, like in our case A. So this is what it is. Now, the very same logic will be applied, very similar logic will be applied in what odd, how to extract odd numbers, right? 1. So the remainder of every odd number when divided by 2 is equivalent to 1. So it will keep on checking till it reaches 25, the last element, and it will print. As you can see, 248 has been removed, and only 5, 7, 1, 11, 15, 17, 25 have been included, right? The other even numbers have been excluded. So this is what it is, right? So x, for x, it will check for 5. Yes, it is equivalent to 1 when divided by 2. The remainder of 5 divided by 2. It will store 5 over here. It will check for 2. It is equivalent to 0. Let's check for 5. 1. It will check for 2 equivalent to 0. So the one that is equivalent to 1, it will store it over here. Similarly, it will check for 2, 7. It will check for it's 4, remove 4, 1, and so on till 25. So this is what it is, right? We can also print the odd part using for loop, and oh sorry, using if for loop. Of course, we'll use over here as well, right? If x modulus 2 double equals to 1, right? Let us print over here in this very cell, as you can see, 135, and yes, it is a list. If you write type over here, let me write down type over here, it will show me what it is, a list. Similarly, a of odd or a of even, or whatever you write, it will show me what it will show me it as a list. So this is what it is, right? So moving further ahead, so this is how we loop through a list. Now let me so the we dealt with numbers over here, right? We are dealing with numbers currently, right? Let us deal with alphabets. Let me take a fruit variable, let's say fruit cart, right? Let me take a fruit name apple. Remember, the strings, these are strings. The words inside a list, or strings inside a list, words inside a list will always be represented by a single inverted quote or a double inverted comma. Like this, we can also represent it like this: banana. Uh, let's take grapes, right? Let's take up guava, right? Let's take up what? Pineapple, right? Let's take up one more fruit. Let's take up dragon fruit. All right. I think these fruits are enough. Okay, emoji came up. No worries. So these fruits are enough, right? Let me print this. So as I said, if you write a double inverted commas or single inverted commas or quote, it will show us what? It will show us a single inverted quote when we print it. All right. So this is what it is. Let me write the length of it. Six different fruits in our fruit cart. Let me check its type. It is showing as what? Sorry. It's showing as what? Fruit car. Fruit underscore fruit cart. It is showing it as what? It is showing it as list. Now let us solve a question over here. The question is that extract the fruits containing small letter A, right? Remember, Python is a very case, not very, Python is a case sensitive language, case sensitive programming language, right? So our question is extract the fruits containing small letter a with the help of course, the list comprehension technique. Now let me take a variable, let's say c, right? And inside it, what I'll do is that write x for x. Now, if I want to copy this list, we'll use the same logic above, right? For x in fruit underscore cart. Let us print it over here itself, right? So this is how we copy the same logic that we used above, right? In this. So this is what it is. It will do what? It will because now it is what? It is one apple is one element. Banana is one element of list. Always remember that, right? Apple is one element of list. Banana is one element of list. So always remember that. So that is why when we checked the length, it showed us what? It showed us as 6 because it is separated. Remember, the elements of lists are separated by commas. I hope no confusion is over here. If still a confusion persists, ask in the comments box, right? Or check out our previous videos of list starting from the list functions, right? So this is what it is. X for x in fruit underscore cart, right? Now the question is containing small letter a. If x in a, right? So it will read what it will, as I said, loop is an iterative process. It will do what? It will read each and every element one by one. So firstly, it will check for apple, and then it will check this condition. If apple in a, that means if apple in a, that means if a small, as I remember, Python is a case sensitive programming language, right? So it will check for apple whether this small a is there in apple or not. No, the small a is not present in the apple. It will check, it will move to, it won't go over here in this x. It will again go inside the for loop. It will check for banana. Yes, a is present inside the banana. It will pr- basically store banana in this x. It will check for grapes. Yes, present. It will check for guava. Yes, present, and so on. Now let me run the cell and let me print c. So okay, it is showing. Okay, I've written okay, just a second. Sorry for the inconvenience caused. If a in x, if a in x, then it will show me. I wrote the inverse. Right. So it will check if a, small a, is present in X or not. In X, which is currently it will, as I said, it will check one by one. It will check one by one. A loop is what? Loop is an iterative process. Iteration means what? Repetitive. Right. So this is what it is, right? So it will check a in x. X is currently what? X is, we are at apple. It will check for apple. No, it is not there. It will check for banana. Yes, it's there. Grapes, guava, it's there. And in the result section, you can see apple has been eliminated. Why? Because it does not contain small a. Now, if I change the question, if I say that check for capital A, and I write over here as capital A, you can see only apple consists of a capital A, rest of all consist of small letter a, right? A in lowercase. I'll shift plus enter, run this, shift plus enter, run this. As you can see, it has only included apple, right? So this is what it is. We can filter, or we can also say filter. We can filter the data. We can filter the fruits according to the spelling also in list comprehension. Now, let's check for capital G. Let's change the question. Let's check for capital G, whether it consists of that or not. Yes, capital G is there. Grapes and guava. Now, let us check for small le, whether small le is there or not. Yes, small le is there in apple and in pineapple. So now it will print me what? It will print me apple and pineapple, right? So this is what it is. All right, let us check for you whether any fruit consists of you. Basically, dragon fruit and guava will be there, right? So this is what it is. Guava and dragon fruit are there. So that's it. That is what a list comprehension is. In the next lecture, we'll see how we'll see a different technique of list comprehensions, right? We'll see a different technique of list comprehensions. We saw how we can do list comprehensions with the help of what? With the help of numbers, with the help of range, with the help of if, how to print odd and even numbers, how to basically how to filter out according to the alphabets, the two letter alphabets LE, है ना? Like that. So this is what it is. In the next video, we'll check a few different techniques related to list comprehensions in this very cell. There are a few more techniques that require attention, but if we go ahead further, it will become a very long video. So that is what it is. So that's it for now. This is the second last video of list. The next video will be our last video of list. And after that, we'll start with dictionaries in Python, which is the second data structure in Python. So that's it for today. For this video. Happy learning. And good night to those watching this video in the night. Good evening to those watching it in the evening. Good morning and good afternoon to those watching it in the morning or the afternoon. Thanks a lot, everyone.